It's another day. We're back on the Tonga Green L322. Today's job, we've got to get this car to a position where I can drive it 250 miles from here in North Yorkshire down to our new home in South Wales. If you watch the earlier parts of this video, you'll know that this car has just about every problem any 19-year-old L322 could possibly have.
It's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
One of them is it's got some bit of an engine issue in the fuel system, and today what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the injectors. We're going to do a leak-off test and test all of that. I've got a couple of spare injectors if we need them, so we can put those in if that's what the problem is. And while we've got all of that stuff removed from the top of the engine, we're also going to change all the vacuum pipes, because I'm certain, without even looking at them, they'll be completely buggered. So we need to take off the inlet manifold so we can get access to the bleed off for the injectors, and then we'll get the bleed off kit out, fit it, start the engine, see what happens. Let's get on with it. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this, which is the airbox. So, this is the injector loom. Over the top, these are the injectors, and this pipe here is the one that we need to disconnect so that we can put the leak-off kit on it. And to do that, we'll need to undo these 3 bolts here, which are for the injector loom, and move the loom out of the way. I should say, I'm working on the drive today. I'm doing a Nino, not economically viable. I'm trying to prove that it is economically viable to own one of these. But I'm working on the drive today, and I've only got part of my tools with me. Those bolts which are holding down the injector loom are an external Torx, like a 6 or an 8 or something. And I haven't got any external Torx tools with me, so we're going to improvise. So we're going to do this leak-off test. This is my leak-off here. I'll show you what we've got here. This is a universal 6-cylinder leak-off kit, which you'll find on Amazon for about 30 quid. There's 6 pots, 6 pieces of hose and 6 connectors. This one's already configured for the car we're working on, so it should be all quite straightforward. But the kit also has different ways of doing it, for example like this, and if you wanted to configure it that way you can, or if your injectors are different. But we're talking L322, this is the kit we're going to use. So we'll grab that, stick it over there, take this, stick it over here on my bench. So I've taken this leak off pipe, the return pipe, put it into this container, so that will collect the diesel that runs off there. These are all connected and wired into here, so now what we're going to do is watch that, and what should happen is these should all, when I start and run the engine, these should all start filling, and when they get to about halfway up, I'm going to stop the engine and then we're going to look at the levels. Okay, I think I've seen all we need to see of that. It's quite clear. They're all fairly even except for number 5. And so with that in mind, that's leaking off about twice as much as any of the others. With that in mind, and also the fact that when you look at these injectors, here's number 1, I'm just looking at the general condition of the fixings and also what the injector looks like. But it's quite clear to me that these are all in a very similar condition, and that leads me to believe that they're all of the same age. Number 5 here has leaked off about twice as much fuel as the other 5, and there's actually very little difference between them, the other ones. So I'm satisfied now that if we're going to change an injector, it's going to be number 5. So with that done, we're going to take that leak off kit off of there and put it away, and the next thing we're going to do is take this inlet manifold off, which we'll need to do anyway if we're going to change that injector, because this high pressure fuel line feed to the injector, this is number 1 injector, but you can't see that for any of the others without taking the inlet manifold off, so the manifold's got to come off. Editor Stephen here. If you want to see the details of what's going on here, just head over to Steve's Steel Raw, my second channel, where you'll find all of the full uncut video I used to make this video. Alright, let's get back to the action. Right, that's done. So we should be able to lift this up now and lift off. Well, this is what you can expect to find when you remove all of this. There we go. M57 engine, less its inlet manifold. There's actually, this is a 4 valve per cylinder head, and so it has 2 inlet ports for each cylinder, and one is here and the other is here, for example. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's nice to see this engine hasn't been messed around with at all. It's still got things like this, little rubber things and bits and pieces still in place, and all of which are part of the original build of this engine. You know, you'd hope to see them in place, and they are. All of these injector pipes look original. They don't look like they've been messed with. There's no spanner marks on any of them. I think, you know, this is a 190 odd thousand mile engine. I think this is all original, which is good and bad. Good because it's not being messed around with, bad because it's probably going to need some attention. But this is the bit we're interested in. So this is the vacuum pump on the front of the engine, and this is its main archery outlet. And this is a bit of a mangled old pipe. I don't know if you can see, but it's been like hammered. I don't think it's leaking, but we are going to try and replace it at some point. I've got another one somewhere. No, I've definitely got another one somewhere in my spares. But then these are the vacuum pipes. This point here, so this vacuum is pulled along this pipe and runs all the way down to the back of the engine there and so on there. But it's got a little manifold here. I don't know how well you can see that. And there's these vacuum pipes coming off of it. And this one that's going that way goes down there and around, ends up here and onto there and onto the turbo. This one is a vacuum pipe that feeds things like engine mounts and stuff like that. This is the EGR one, so this the EGR valve has a vacuum pipe going up to the valve electronic solenoid here, which then sucks along here to open and close the EGR valve. And there's another solenoid down there as well. And then there's a pipe that runs all the way down the side of the engine and underneath the subframe, and it supplies vacuum to the engine mounts there and over there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to replace all of those, because, and this is where it comes in, you see this is a round pipe, this is a round pipe. These are the original vacuum pipes that were fitted onto the engine 14 years ago. And these ones, which are underneath the inlet manifold, really do get hot, and the vacuum, as they heat up, sucks them flat. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to pull them off in a minute, but I don't know if you can see that. Those pipes there are completely collapsed. There is no way the vacuum that's being supplied by the pump over there and coming along this pipe through this manifold, the things that are at the other end of these pipes, there's no way they're receiving vacuum, because, which means they won't be operating. So the EGR valve won't be operating, for example. The engine mounts, active engine mounts, won't be operating. So we're going to replace all of those vacuum pipes. It's a bit of a fiddly job, but I bought a roll of 4mm ID, 8mm OD, so that's a 2mm wall silicon vacuum pipe. It's not the same as what's fitted on here, but it will work in my experience. So what else can we see here? These are the glow plugs, and this is the glow plug harness, which goes down to a big plastic manifold underneath there, and is wired round the back of the engine into the ECU over there. This is the water takeoff to the top of the radiator, and it has another pipe here which goes off to the heater matrix in the car, and the return on that is this pipe here, which goes onto this plastic manifold, which comes all the way up here and around there and goes underneath there, underneath the EGR cooler, to the thermostat housing, and we've got a new thermostat housing to fit, so we're going to do that once we put all these vacuum pipes and the manifold back together again. So what else have we got to do? We're going to change these vacuum hoses. Should we do it? Let's do that. Right, all the vacuum hoses now replaced. Obviously it was going to be difficult for you to see what was happening, but I'm going to show you just as an example. There you go. If you can just about make that out, that's the underside of the engine mount, and that's got the new red vacuum hose attached to it. So that was routed across the steering rack and up here and round there and 5 times around the engine and up and down and onto that T-piece, which is on top of the left-hand engine mount. So that's all of the engine mounts, that's all of the vacuum pipes done. Next job we're going to do is put the inlet manifold back on. We're going to have a look at it first and check out its condition. And oops, one of the fixing bolts just fell out. First thing we're going to do, I'll show you. There we go. This is the underside, the mating surface of the inlet manifold. This one doesn't have swirl flaps, so there's no actuators or anything. We don't need to delete them because it hasn't got any. But what we can see is these gaskets are well past their best. These ones are not too bad, but these ones have had it. I haven't got a spare set here, so we're just going to have to put it back on as it is. And we'll order up a new set of gaskets and we'll fit them when we take the top of the engine off next time to do the fuel injector. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put it here. It's dark in there, isn't it? Does that give us enough light? See what's going on there? I think really what I want to show you is that that's the inside of the EGR valve, and it's basically clean, it's not sooty at all, and that's probably explained by the fact that the vacuum pipe that operates the EGR valve, which attaches to there, wasn't actually attached, and even if it had been, it probably wouldn't have been pulling enough vacuum to open the valve anyway. So this has had, effectively this engine has had an EGR delete, even if it wasn't deliberate. The only other thing I've done is on this little manifold, vacuum manifold here, the last position, the fourth position, is usually blanked off. I've taken the blank out and I've added a piece of hose up here which I'll plug, and the reason for that is that I can put the vacuum gauge on it when the engine's running, and I can make sure that it's not leaking. I haven't got the vacuum gauge here at the moment, but while I've got all this accessible, I'll put the pipe on and then I can add that at a later date. So let's put the inlet manifold back on. So, the manifold is back on, and I need to put these back on, and that vacuum pipe for the EGR valve, which I've managed to trap. Okay, we'll unthread that. There it is. Right, so that's got to go on there, like that. So we'll chop a bit off and slide it onto there. We'll put this on, we'll put that on. So there's that done, that done, that done. All of those, that. So the next thing we're going to do before we reconnect the injectors is we're going to take this piece off and have a look inside. So this is the crankcase breather system. It's just held on by some iron-headed bolts. And there are two versions of this. One has a paper, what the old cotton here, referred to as toilet roll filter, and the other is a centrifugal filter. If it's got the toilet roll filter, we're going to have to put it straight back in because I haven't got a spare with me. But if it's got that, we need to swap it for a centrifugal one. If it's got a centrifugal already, then it's fine. So let's do that. gaskets stayed where they should. Gaskets stayed where they should, and this has got the toilet roll type filter in it. And with that, we're just going to put it back. Actually, I might take that and just give it a wash with some brake cleaner, but we're going to take that and we're going to order a replacement. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm quite pleased with that. Now, I did say I'd show you the vacuum pipes that I'd taken off. By the way, have I got dirt on my face? Probably. I did say I'd show you the vacuum pipes I've taken off, and Amazon have been kind enough to deliver a parcel which makes a perfect little table for this. There we go. Look at these. So these are the vacuum pipes that I took off. This is the one that goes from the solenoid to the EGR valve. And this is the one that goes from the vacuum manifold, the clarinet, to the EGR solenoid. And I don't know if you can see, I hope you can see. There's the thickness of it at the union where it's pushed onto the clarinet, and then it goes immediately flat. And I mean, this is properly flat. Sorry about the state of my hands. Except for where the clips were, and that's because they're protected from the heat where the clips are. So basically this is completely shot. Get rid of that. This is the pipe that was going to, hang on, which one is it? No, it's this one here. This one here is the one that was going to the turbo. To the accumulator next to the turbo, and this end of it is the end that was under the engine inlet manifold. And again, this hasn't quite gone completely flat, but you can see all of its protection is just disintegrating, and the pipe itself is, I can collapse it with no effort at all. So under vacuum, it would have been just pulling that flat. So there would have been no vacuum accumulating in the accumulator, and therefore there would have been no vacuum being applied to the turbo. And the turbo needs the vacuum to actuate the variable vanes. And these other ones were, I think that long one there is the one that ran between the engine mounts. That's the one that ran down from the T-section to the engine mounts. And these two, I can't remember where these two came from, but these have gone the other way. These are really hard, except for just there where that one's collapsed. I think that was where it was on the manifold. So those are your vacuum pipes. This is why you replace them, because you can imagine you might change the ones you can see, but if the other ones which are underneath the manifold, which are now under there, and you did see them but you can't see them now because they're buried underneath there, if they're in the same shape that the ones you can see are in, or worse, then your vacuum system is buggered and it's not working, and that means all kinds of performance issues, EGR valve and turbo for a start, but also comfort of the car because of the engine mounts. If they're not working, then you've got no vacuum operated engine mounts, which means the engine will twist when it's under acceleration and things like that. So there you go.